A lot of artists do not actually take time or give a damn about art history. And again, I would say on the surface, it really doesn't matter. Actually, it doesn't. But if you don't have a sense of documented art history, you're putting yourself at a very, very grave disadvantage, because it means you're not actually intelligent, you're being stupid. And don't take it as an offense, it's just like you're actually being stupid. Because can you imagine trying to be a doctor and you don't know anything about the history of medicine? That is, you have no idea. You don't know when things happen, their timeline and all that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't mean you can't still be a doctor. You will be a doctor if you just do the technical part of stuff. Yeah, of course you can be a very good doctor, but you'll be half empty. Now, what I'm trying to say by this short video is that the more you can educate yourself from the mainstream, because the mainstream is not really that interested in whether you know it or not. The mainstream is about power. It's not interested in your individual development or trying to know anything. The mainstream doesn't care. And who is the mainstream? The mainstream is just a system that works for itself. It doesn't really care about who falls down or who stands up. It just moves. It's like a train. If you're on the train, you're on the train. If you're not on the train, you're not on the train. But you can travel without the train. So the mainstream is like the train. So if you want to travel independently, secure in the knowledge that you know where you're going, then you have to understand maps. You have to understand how to negotiate where you're going. And that is why I would say, as a young artist, you should find something in the history of art and become an expert in it. Say, pick a period. You don't have to know everything. It doesn't actually necessarily have to relate to the work you do. It just gives you that knowledge of reference. So, for example, if you're interested in African art or something like that, pick a period. Study African art, history, religious African art, whatever. Pick a topic. Try and be broad on it. Study as much of it as you can. If you're into American art, contemporary art, modern contemporary art, Asian art, Mexican art, Latin American art, English art, Victorian art, Renaissance, anything, just pick a topic. It doesn't really matter whether it's for today or not. Pick a topic and try to master it. You can also pick a painter and study a painter. It could be anybody. It could be the modern painter. It could be one of the old masters that I actually recommend. Like, you could study an old masters. It's just like studying music. You can study classical music. It doesn't mean you couldn't play other kinds of music, but it gives you a foundation. So by studying one of the arts and becoming good at it, you have a foundation, a routine that actually helps you to place yourself in a kind of timeline, in a kind of recognitive sense, what has been there before you. Because there's really nothing you're going to do in your entire life as an artist that somebody else has not actually done before. The difference is that you are placing a new copy of that experience, information in the new era. You're actually making your own reservations. And that's what really you're trying to do by being a painter. You're painting because there's a history to painting. You're painting because you're trying to leave a type of mark, a type of signature of your time in your era for other people. If they care, they can see that. So when you make you're actually basically writing a diary. That's what you're doing. People will think your diaries are important if at the end of a particular time people can refer to your work and say, oh, she did that at such a time, or he did that at this period. But it's just keeping time, keeping history. That's what artists do. But having said that, what my emphasis here is that you should make that effort to study with intent. That is, to study with an intention, to know very well what has happened in the past, to know very well what is happening or what is going to happen. Study it properly. Most of us who are artists have a half-baked idea about everything. Half-baked. Our understanding of things are very shallow. If you ask an artist, why do you do this, what is that? There's this feigning of like, I don't care what it is. It's just ignorance. You have to be very interested in it because you're part of that history. If you are not interested in it, you will not be part of that history. If you go check whether somebody's, even in our modern times, is a rap artist, is a musician, they always refer to the people before them, what they have done, how the people have inspired them, and they actually go into detail to study the artists that they admire, study them properly, become experts. And the more you become an expert of it, the more it serves you. So, to cut a long story short, or make this video short, I would say, keep in mind that the most important thing here is that you continue to work. Develop yourself, make those changes you need to make, cut out the waste of time that you must cut out, and then add to that your sense of knowledge. You need to improve yourself all the time. Buy the books if you can afford them, borrow them from the library if you can't. Spend less time, wasted time on things like browsing the internet and just consuming garbage that doesn't help you. If you're on the net and you're actually studying, fine. If you're on the net just to kill your boredom, you are wasting your life. You must stop and look back and think, what could I have done with the last hour? I could have read a book. I could have done so much. I could have even been asleep. It would be better than just consuming nonsense. And that is the advice I'll give to you if you're a young artist. Do not, please, don't waste your time doing things that are negative to your growth, doing things that are actually sabotaging your future. Because the only person who can make you good is yourself. It's only when you're good at something, when you're actually inside that stuff, when you're actually commanding that spirit, that you're able to make other people follow. And with that said, this video ends, and have a good day. Ciao.